Are you your own meanest critic? You're not alone. Hi, I'm Lisa Welsh, and I'm here from Intimate Touch to talk to you today about self-talk. For the month of January, which is Self-Love Month, we wanted to focus on the way that you speak to yourself. Let's be honest, you probably find it quite hard to talk to other people meanly, but when it comes to yourself, it's likely that you have a whole stream of negative thoughts on repeat. Let me give you an example. You catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror and your eyes are immediately drawn to your thighs where you think, oh my goodness, I'm so disgusting. Look at the way they jiggle. How did I let this happen to myself? I am so unlovable. Does that strike a chord with you? If so, this is just part of being human, unfortunately. Those negative and mean voices are like a replay of things that we've received, messages that we've received over the years from media, from family, from well-meaning friends and family, and yes, from magazines. What can we do about it? Wouldn't it be great if we could just switch it off? Unfortunately, that is not likely to happen. The thing to know about this mean voice is that it is actually there to protect you. It's like a well-meaning security guard who gets a little bit too OCD about their job, right? So this security guard wants to protect you from being told that you have jiggly thighs by telling you you have jiggly thighs. It's like trying to keep your hopes down, trying to keep you small so that you don't get too big for your boots and then potentially get hurt. So that mean inner voice is actually a part of you, and part of your subconscious chose to have it there in order to protect you. It's a well-meaning, overly honest, and hyper unfair friend. Now, the thing about this mean voice is that we can redirect it, because although it is part of us, it is not actually us. Okay, hang on in there. This isn't as complicated as it sounds. What we can choose to do instead is look at what the negative voice is saying and decide if it is actually true. So here's how you can do that in practice. So you're looking in the mirror, you notice your thighs because your eyes are drawn to that bit of you that you kind of can't stop thinking about. That mean inner voice says, oh my goodness, look at those thighs, I'm so disgusting. You just catch yourself in that moment. When you hear that voice in your head, you catch yourself, pause, and ask yourself, is this actually true? Am I really disgusting and unlovable just because my thighs have some jiggle? Now, don't be hard on yourself if you notice that you're doing this, because there is a multi-million billion-dollar industry designed to make you have an issue with your thighs, right? Because they make a lot of money out of female insecurity. So the point is instead to just try to cut that voice down to size by asking yourself, isn't it a stretch to say I'm unlovable because my thighs have a bit of jiggle, right? So that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to catch it in the act. You hear this negative thought and you just catch it in the act. You notice what you're saying. You ask yourself, is this true? And is this helpful? Do I actually need to be protected by that voice, or can I choose again? And from that point, you can empower yourself to actually choose again. This can transform your life, right? But it's easier said than done, and it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of practice. I catch myself doing it all the time. I can think, oh my goodness, look at all this gray. I'm looking so old. I'm now so irrelevant. And who would ever listen to me anyway? Because I've got a little bit of silver in my hair. And in fact, I got my first gray hair when I was 19. It's okay. Wasn't that old. Now I'm 39, 20 years on. Yes, I've been dyeing my hair every 6 to 8 weeks since, for quite a long time. Now what I'm learning to do is catch myself in the act of thinking I'm super ugly or irrelevant or so old because I have some silver in my hair, and deciding that I still have value. I still have worth. I still have things to say. And I know that that mean voice is trying to protect me from people saying, oh my goodness, you have silver hair. And I'd be like, I know. Instead, what I can do is choose another thought. I know plenty of incredible people with silver hair. Their hair color doesn't impact how I feel about them at all. So I'm only being mean to myself. And when I notice that happening, I can choose again. So that is it in action. That is the negative self-talk in action. Something I love to do. You're either imagining that mean voice is some kind of overzealous security guard, or like a little girl version of you who is having a tantrum, and you can visualize giving her a cookie, putting her in the corner and saying, thank you so much for noticing. Thank you for trying to protect me. I appreciate it, but I've got this. I don't need you. I don't need you to be mean today. I'm choosing another thought. It is so empowering. Now, I want to talk to you specifically about the kind of self-talk that can come up during moments of self-pleasure. Now, this is intense because self-pleasure is completely interwoven with shame for so many of us. The very idea of admitting that we touch ourselves. It's our body, just by the way, you know. But we have been taught and socialized to believe that touching ourselves to bring pleasure is a shameful act, a sinful act. There is so much negativity woven in. So when you are engaging in a self-pleasure act, a loving act of self-pleasure, you can find this mean voice gets really, really loud. Now, the good thing about this is that it is giving you a direct line to your subconscious. So by taking time for conscious self-pleasure, which is where you're actively noting what feelings and thoughts are coming up as you self-pleasure, you can start to rewire your subconscious and unlock that shame in order to access even deeper pleasure. So while you are self-pleasuring in whatever way feels right to you, whether that is using a toy or using a hand, and notice the thoughts and feelings that come up and just be there with them and breathe. You're not judging yourself for having those thoughts. You don't even actively have to do anything else other than notice them and acknowledge them and give them space, because this is your subconscious giving you a little insight into what's going on deeper below the surface, right? Maybe you'll be thinking, oh, my vagina is so disgusting, or this is so bad. I'm so embarrassed. It would be just so devastating if anybody ever knew I was doing this, right? And just be there with those thoughts and witness them. And witness that part of you that is trying to protect you. When you can access this kind of subconscious conditioning and give it space to express itself, you can release it. Because these are the same thoughts that come up when you are trying to have any kind of pleasure, right? Sometimes you don't know exactly what the thoughts are, you just get shut down, and it can express itself as numbness and pain during sex. So by having a conscious self-pleasure practice where you're actively listening to the negative self-talk that's coming up, you can actively rewire your mind and your thoughts to give you more freedom. You can take this a step further by actually noticing those thoughts and then journaling on them afterwards. So you're taking time to actually write down what thoughts came up and what you would like to choose instead. This takes time. It is a lifetime work, but it is so, so worth doing. You have the power to change your self-talk and to actively engage with it, but unfortunately, not to remove it altogether. It is a mechanism that is designed to protect you. And once you can recognize it for that, you can work with it rather than get annoyed about it and then kind of go into a whole cycle of like, why am I so mean to myself? This is just awful. And then you kind of get into a whole cycle of being even meaner because you were mean and not understanding that this is your psyche and this is a part of your subconscious that was chosen there and placed there by you for a good reason. You are amazing. You are so powerful and so worthy of pleasure. And if there's one thing you take away from this, it's just to remember that no matter what that mean voice says, you are incredible, powerful beyond measure, and you have the power to choose your own thoughts moment to moment. I really hope that this has served you today, and I can't wait to see you next time.